No, the ones with the illness, I think they're gonna be okay. Hopefully, they will train today, and if everybody's fine, they should be available.
That's about Raheem Sterling as well. Is he like what's the update on him?
Yeah, I think he's starting to do some stuff on the pitch, so that's great news. So yeah, as quick as possible, we want him available. Let's see how he progresses next week, and then see if we get him available for the following week.
Just find a couple as well. Ben White and Tommy Asu, how they get on?
Ben is still a few weeks away, and Tommy again has done some stuff on the pitch, but now it's to see. Obviously, it's been a long-term injury, and we need to see how quickly he can progress and how Danny reacts. But hopefully, good.
Declan Rice, he was on the bench for the Brentford game. He's got 8 games coming up for the rest of January. Is that something you're going to have to continue doing, which is manage the minutes of all your players?
Yeah, on his case, especially, he plays so much football. We had 9 games in this period, in this month, and he has some niggles in the last few games. He had to come off, and yeah, we have to manage every player, and he's not an exception for sure.
I think after the game against Brentford, you said you're really happy with the players that you have here. But if you were to say, is it more likely that you'll sign someone in January, or more likely that you won't sign someone in January?
I don't know. Again, because the focus is with the players that we have. It's something extraordinary in the market that we can afford, and we believe that it's going to have a real impact in the team. We have to be open for that possibility always, because that's why we have the ability to change the squad, to improve the squad in the windows. But at the moment, the focus is what we have.
In terms of what you do you see anyone maybe leaving this January? Someone like Kieran Tierney, perhaps? What do you think is going to happen with him?
Again, all the players that they are there, I just want to focus on performing and impacting the team. And if something happens there, we will assess it.
Just finally, Ethan Waneri, it was a really impressive
Yeah.
performance from him against Brentford. Is he the most natural replacement, you think, for Bukayo Saka while he's out?
I mean, he's a player can play in various positions. It's not a position that he's played a lot, to be fair, even when he was in the academy level. But yeah, he can adapt basically for the demands that we have in 2-3 positions, and I think he did really well the other day.
Go to Niv from the Premier League.
Hello.
Good seeing you. Can I please ask you about Mikel Merino? The start of his journey in Arsenal wasn't easy, picked up an injury immediately, but since then he settled really well. Gives you a really strong balance in midfield as well. How would you reflect the way he settled here and the value it gives in midfield?
Yeah, well, we expected a very fast integration because he's playing the league, because he's such an intelligent and experienced player, and I think he fits very well our model. The thing is that, as you said, he had an injury. They had another little niggle, and he had no pre-season because he played for Spain as well, and it took him just a while to start to get set. But now you can see straight away the impact that he has in the team, his intelligence, the goal threat that he offers to the team, and then more and more will come because he's a natural leader as well. And the moment that he grows in the role, I think we'll see much more from him.
Can I please ask you about Gabriel Jesus? Another goal on Wednesday night. I was wondering if things were going well for him. He dealt with injuries, for example. How much belief he had to show in himself, and how much belief he had to show in him as well?
Yeah, it's about supporting our players, and the players know that they have to go through sometimes periods that is not exactly how they planned it, because injuries are part of that, but as well they have to believe in themselves, and we have to make sure that if one day they doubt, we are there to recognize and make sure that they feel from our side how much we like them and how happy we are to have them.
Brighton this weekend, they haven't won the Premier League in the last 7 games. They managed to really challenge you when you played them earlier this season. What do you expect from them tomorrow evening?
Yes, a really tough opponent. When you see as well the record they've got at home, the way of playing, the capacity they have to adapt to different scenarios, different shapes, really impressive. I think he's done something slightly different to before. I really like them, to be fair, really impressed with what they've done.
George on the BBC.
Okay, well, I just wondered, on Ethan and Miles, you've given them their Premier League debuts. Is that something you wanted to change at Arsenal, just giving more youth players as a target yourself this season, or has it just happened because of injuries? Or is that something you wanted to do as manager, is try and bring more players through from the academy?
The first thing that we want is look in the academy. Can we get what we want in the academy? That's option number one. If we don't have it there, then we have to look elsewhere, or we have to develop our players to different positions, and and make them more versatile, we have to go in the market and recruit. And I think those two players, I think they are playing because they deserve, not because of injuries, because we had other options to play other players, and they are playing because they deserve to play.
Yeah, like you said, something is missing, a major trophy for Arsenal. He won the FA Cup, but 5 years in charge. On Boxing Day, he celebrated 5 years since his first game. Mikel Arteta wants to win something.
Yeah, and you're probably thinking, if you finish above City, you usually win it. And then Liverpool just come along and go, nah. Well, at the moment anyway, we're not having it there. But it's a title race. They're still very much in it. I did the Brentford game, and I thought without Kai Havertz, without Declan Rice, without Saka, brilliant, mature, professional performance, solid, really impressed. Obviously, this went behind with this Mbeumo goal, which was a great little finish from him. But then after that, really controlled, and it's not an easy place to go to, Brentford. It's a bit of a fortress there, and like I said, a very, very mature performance from them.
And this is the thing, I mean, for Arsenal fans, and for any neutrals who want a properly full-on title race, which I suppose is most of us, unless you have any issues with the clubs involved. But I think it's a great pity about Saka's injury, because it does just feel, after a first 4 months of the season where Arsenal to kind of... And I know there was a big talk about how much was made of the injuries, but it did feel for about 4 months, almost every single week, Arsenal had a new issue to deal with, be it a kind of a red card, being a new injury, or a player missing, or the way games went, and some of their own making, of course. But it feels like they've come through that, and they're properly on, say, last season's form now, where they went on that run. But of course, to perpetuate that, you do need your best players on, and Saka there. So I think they're suddenly in a really good place at the moment, as illustrated by that win against Brentford. But now just missing someone who's arguably their best player, and it does feel maybe that could cost them if they go on one of these runs. But as regards the weekend, I mean, I think this is a fixture similar to Brentford in the way it's an upwardly mobile team, a difficult place to go to, if not quite the record of Brentford's. It's a tough game. But with the way they came through that match during the week, I do think Arsenal will find a way again. They'll be cannier than Brighton, I think.
They drew last time out, and of course that was the Rice red card.
Yeah.
Arsenal, as you mentioned, had a couple of red cards at the start of the season that really, really played so much of this game with 10 men and drew 1-1.
Was that this season?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it feels like forever ago. But
is that some nice weather?
31st of August,
wow.
And it was the time wasting.
He kicked it away slightly, didn't he?
Kicking the ball away.
The thing about that game as well, I think it was the first sign of something a little bit different with Arsenal, because as you mentioned about, you would think if you finish ahead of City, you win the league. And there was a sense in the last season, the build-up to this season, that Arteta became obsessed with the final details to make up the gap to City, which is why I think they went to a bit more of a pragmatic approach. But in doing that, maybe you lose what makes you great, which is like an opposition managers talk about when Arsenal are on song. They're almost unplayable because there's attacks coming at you from everywhere. And this game was almost a clear example of that, where then tried to lock up the game. But once they lost Rice, they weren't able to shift, and it was almost needless 2 points dropped. And that's been a bit of a... They weren't able to shift, and it was almost needless 2 points dropped. And that's been a bit of a recurring theme this season.
Kaz, big question then. The window is open. They don't have Bukayo Saka. Gabriel Jesus is back on scoring form, but do they still need a striker? If you were Mikel Arteta, he's talked about something missing. What's missing in his squad?
To be fair, I think they needed a left winger. I don't think they needed a striker. And even more so now Bukayo Saka's out. I think Nwaneri was brilliant the other day, young lad. But he's only young. You can't put that much pressure on him. I think he's 18, so he's quite young. But I always felt Kai Havertz could do a job as that 9, and I always thought, I like Martinelli, but I think they needed another kind of... If you think about Liverpool, they had, when they won it, they had Salah and Mane, and you think now they just had 2. And I think they just needed another winger, and I don't think it is the number 9 for me.
And Fabian, do you set goals for the start of the year? Are you that kind of person?
No. So I think in general in life it's important to have goals, but especially in football the season starts always in summer. So in summer I think it's time to set individual goals, team goals, and therefore I'm not the biggest fan of doing this in the winter break.
Well, new year, we've got a bit of a fresh start because you've got Daniel Niskoski who's come in as a coach, and so you've got a new player through the door already as well in Diego Gomez. He's now officially a Brighton player. Is he someone that comes straight in to selection, or does he need some time?
Of course he had now 2 or 3 weeks of holiday, because in the MLS the season is finished, so he needs for sure a little bit time, but I'm sure he's in a great shape. He trained hard during his holiday, what I heard, and that's why I'm really looking forward to see him as quick as possible on the pitch.
And is Saturday too early for that?
That's too early, yes.
That is too early, okay. Any new injury issues or anyone back this weekend?
Adam will be back. Hopefully Jack is close, and I think the rest will stay the same.
Okay, is Ferdy any closer to coming back?
Unfortunately not.
Okay. Would it be a while?
I think so.